This is where the flame of liberty burns bright. This is the Jason Veely Program.
Hello, my friends. Jason Veely here. You're listening to the Jason Veely Program. The email address, jasonveelyradio@gmail.com. That's JAYSONVELEY radio@gmail.com. We have yet another shooting, folks, in California at the YouTube headquarters. From what I understand, it was a female shooter. She used a handgun. Not an AR-15 this time, Libs. A handgun. You're going to start talking about handgun control now? She used a handgun to wound, I believe it was 3 individuals, again, at the YouTube headquarters. And then she turned the gun on herself, like the coward that she is. And I know the liberals hate this line, but I'm never going to stop saying this until the day that I die when tragedies like this happen. Our thoughts and our prayers do go out to the people that were affected in one way or another by this, whether it's the people who were directly wounded from the gunshots or their families who are helping them through this difficult time. Our thoughts and prayers go out to them. I want to give some background information, folks. I'm not going to spend the entire show talking about this because I have other things that I want to get to. But I do want to give you some background information about this shooter, and then analyze it the way that I do. Breitbart News reporting, the shooter who took her own life. I'm sorry, it was more than 3 people who were wounded. It was 4 at YouTube headquarters in California, has been identified as Nasim Aghdam. Gee, that sounds like an American name, huh? In multiple reports after being described as a white woman in a headscarf earlier in the day. Let's see. Aghdam said to reside... Now, this person's a character, folks. When I was reading about her during show prep, what her views are, she has a strange YouTube channel that I'm going to get to in a minute. Just a very, very strange, odd person. Aghdam, said to reside in Southern California, had a long history of animal rights activism and was quoted by the Los Angeles Times at a protest of the U.S. Marine Corps' use of pigs to demonstrate battlefield wounds in 2009. She ran a series of very similar websites espousing vegan views. In one video post on video hosting service Dailymotion, she claims to be from Iran in an introduction to a mock appearance on America's Got Talent. See, now you know what I'm kind of talking about here. She's not just a vegan, but a radical vegan, it seems like. I mean, protesting the U.S. Marine Corps and how they used a pig to demonstrate battlefield wounds. Pretending to be on America's Got Talent in one of her videos that she posted. It's all very strange to me. Now listen to this. On one of her websites, she stated, quote, "There is no equal growth opportunity on YouTube or any other video sharing site. Your channel will grow if they want to." And this was among many statements criticizing the company, YouTube, across her other websites and social media pages. So she clearly had a hatred of YouTube. Got that? So we have an individual who doesn't have an American name, who is a radical vegan, who, contrary to media reports, is not a white woman, who makes videos apparently pretending to be on America's Got Talent, and also, I don't know if I mentioned this yet or not, I might have, hates YouTube. Hates YouTube because it's not fair, because she can't grow her channel. She's not getting as many viewers or shares as she wants to have. The way I see it, folks, I mean, what if her channel just sucked? I mean, could that be an option? Maybe she just doesn't put out good videos. Maybe it's not YouTube's fault. YouTube does a lot of crappy things, don't get me wrong, but I have a feeling that people just didn't like her videos. Nothing that YouTube did. But she was a radical. She felt that YouTube was treating her unfairly, and so she took a handgun and went to their headquarters and opened fire. There's more. There's more on this. I hope this is just providing you some background information. In a February Facebook post, for instance, she decried YouTube's hidden policy of discrimination and suppression of truth. Again, I just think that is, your videos suck. Her YouTube channel, by the way, is no longer available. I think YouTube blocked it, but there have been screenshots taken of it. And just by the screenshots, it all seems so weird. For instance, I'm looking at a screenshot of a video that she posted. She's clearly standing in front of a green screen, and there's some kind of animated gun being aimed at the animal, and she's standing in between the gun and the animal. It's low quality. It just seems bizarre. Bizarre to me. Agdam herself had several YouTube accounts posting dozens of videos espousing a pro-animal rights viewpoint, as well as videos of herself dancing or demonstrating exercise moves in front of green screen backgrounds. Her accounts began to be locked shortly after her identification as the shooter, but screen grabs like the one below, again, this is the one I described before, show content typical of the animal rights-focused videos. Her websites contain statements like, YouTube filtered my channels to keep them from getting views, and images complaining about her revenue from her YouTube videos, implying YouTube had been diminishing her earnings. Now, here's another screen grab from her YouTube channel. I see one video that had 2,000 views, 35 thumbs up, and 20 thumbs down. Another video that had 1,000 views. Another video that had 6,000 views. Another video that had 12,000 views. Total views she had for the channel, according to this screen grab, is 366,591. And she's complaining because she only got 10 cents for that. And frankly, folks, I've been on YouTube for quite some time. I still don't make any money. I mean, the way YouTube is structured, you have to have a lot of views, a lot more than 366,000, if you want to actually be able to make a substantial amount of money. Now, I'm on YouTube understanding that, full well. Apparently, this individual doesn't understand that. A little bit more, then I'm going to move on. Agdam also appears to have maintained at least 2 Instagram accounts, frequently captioning her posts in her presumably native Persian language. She makes frequent reference to Iran and the Azeri ethnic group that resides primarily in Iran and neighboring Azerbaijan. Whatever. Can't pronounce that one, folks. Azerbaijan. Well, now you're thinking to yourself, gee, Jason, I don't blame you. A post on the website of the Interfaith Vegan Alliance refers to her by the name of Nasim Sabz, S-A-B-Z, and claims she is an adherent of the, Baha'i faith. I believe that's how you say that, which is persecuted in Iran, seeming to claim she once ran a TV show on Persian satellite. So she definitely wins the award of creepiest individual, both in terms of her videos that she created and the way she looks. I mean, no offense, but I'm looking at a picture of her right now. Just, again, a very, very strange individual. The kind of individual that really you shouldn't be too surprised when they pick up a handgun and go shoot innocent people. So that's some background about this individual. Now, I want to bring up this point, folks. Have you noticed that these people who engage in mass shootings are never older white NRA members? Have you noticed that? I've noticed that. And yet, ladies and gentlemen, what do we get from the left? It's always, get the NRA. It's the NRA to blame. The NRA has blood on their hands. not a single NRA member commits acts of violence like this, murders innocent people, shoots at innocent people like this, and yet they get blamed time and time again, and I'm sick of it. This time's no different. This time's no different. We have a-holes out there. That's exactly what they are. Blaming the NRA, even though they had nothing to do with this. I'm sorry, but I just think that when there's a mass shooting, even when no one dies, people are wounded, I don't care. Whenever there's a shooting like this, the first thing these idiots do is they go out there and blame the NRA, completely politicizing the entire event. I find that absolutely disgusting. I'm sorry, but I do. You ever hear of a woman by the name of Alyssa Milano? I haven't, but apparently she's out there blaming the YouTube HQ shooting on the NRA. Apparently she's a far-left actress and activist. Well, that's why I've never heard of her. She tweeted, this is from yesterday at 7:01 p.m., or from her official Twitter account. If at NRA or at NRA TV were run by brown or black people, it would be labeled a terrorist organization with hate propaganda programming that incites violence. Well, gee, there's a coherent argument there. If the NRA was run by brown or black people, then we'd all be calling them a terrorist organization. I don't exactly understand. You implying that Americans are racist? Are you bringing race into this somehow? I just don't get it. What I do understand is that she's blaming the NRA. This is just basically a clever backdoor sort of way of calling the NRA a terrorist organization. Now I'll say again, the NRA had nothing to do with this. They never have anything to do with this. Oh, Jason, but they're advocates for the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms. Who the hell cares? I'm an advocate for the Second Amendment. Am I a terrorist? Am I a criminal? Do I have blood on my hands? I mean, that argument is just so preposterous, ladies and gentlemen. The NRA, they don't take a single penny from the taxpayers. Not a single penny. Unlike Planned Parenthood, by the way. And I'll get to them after the break, because I want to point out hypocrisy. But there you go. Alyssa Milano blaming the NRA and somehow weaving race into it. Another one, Michael Ian Black. You ever heard of him? Me neither. Blaming the NRA YouTube HQ shooting on the NRA. Let's see. He posted a series of tweets. Oh, yes. Starting yesterday at 4:30. Another shooting. By the way, this guy is an actor and comedian. Oh, he's real funny. He said, another shooting. I'm going to politicize the F out of it, and so should you. The NRA is a terrorist organization. So here we have an a-hole who knows that he's politicizing it and doesn't really give a damn. That's great. You people on the left, you have some real characters. You know that? Let's see. Less than an hour later, actually, as a matter of fact, on Twitter, about 20 minutes later, after this first post, he published another post. It's Michael Ian Black, and he said, "No, I don't know who the shooter is. It doesn't matter if they are an NRA member. Yes, I know how they got the gun. The NRA and its blood-soaked lackeys made it possible for that person to get it." Okay. Pretty sure the NRA didn't give this person a gun. Pretty sure that this person, by the way, I don't think we even know how this person got a handgun yet, but I'm pretty sure they didn't go to the NRA and say, hey, I support the Second Amendment, now give me a gun. And here you could, again, see how utterly irrational their arguments are. They don't even make any sense. Another tweet. This one was, let's see, about 15 minutes later. So here we have 3 tweets from an incoherent celebrity comedian actor named Michael Ian Black, who openly admits to politicizing this and is calling the NRA a terrorist organization because some whack job entered the YouTube HQ and opened fire. I assumed nothing about the shooter's motives nor their affiliation, he tweeted. I assert that the easy access of firearms in this country makes the NRA an accessory to it. Let me read that again. I assert that who the hell cares what you assert, you idiot? Who are you? I don't even know who you are, Michael Ian Black. Some of you in the audience might know. I have no idea. I don't follow these comedian actor types. These Hollywood types. I don't really give a damn. I assert that the easy access of firearms in this country makes the NRA an accessory to it. I mean, that logic is just so stupid. So stupid. Hey, can you go out and buy a car pretty easily? Can you? I mean, if I had the money, I could go out today and drive a new car home, right? If I go out on the highway, and I do something stupid, let's say I'm going 120 miles an hour and I hit somebody and they are severely wounded or killed as a result of the accident. Is that the car manufacturer's fault? The car company that I bought it from, is that their fault? No, of course it's not. See, that's what I mean. It is a stupid argument to make. The NRA is an accessory to it? These people are just so pathetic. I mean, honestly, folks, it almost goes beyond pathetic. It's just sad. It really is just sad how willing and eager they are to politicize these tragedies and immediately make it about not only gun control, but about, let's get the conservative, let's get the NRA. I have never heard a single rational argument about how the NRA is responsible for any of these shootings. Not a single rational argument. Now, I've heard it millions of times. The NRA is a terrorist organization. The NRA is this. The NRA is that. But I mean, I have never heard a leftist really thoroughly explain it. You know why? Because they can't. They're talking out of their ass, if I may be so blunt. That's what they're doing. I mean, seriously, folks, all these jerks that are blaming the NRA, they're absolutely pathetic. I bet they couldn't name one NRA member who has ever done something like this. Can you name one? I mean, you're calling them a terrorist organization. I suspect that you can name an individual, a member of the NRA, who has gone out and killed innocent people. Name one. Name one NRA member, not two, not three, not five, one, that has advocated the senseless murder of innocent people. Name one. You can't, can you? You can't, can you? Michael Ian Black, Alyssa Milano, all you other leftists. You have no idea. You have no idea. You can't name one because there are none. You can't name one because the reality is that the NRA is an organization that, as I mentioned, does not take a single penny from the American taxpayer. The NRA is an organization that, yes, does advocate for the Second Amendment, but also promotes gun safety. Do you realize that they train people how to use guns? Do the liberals realize that? I don't think they do. Anyway, I gotta take a break to cool off, folks. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Loud, passionate, and unafraid. You're listening to the Jason Veely Program.
Now, folks, notice the hypocrisy. Notice the hypocrisy in those who blame the NRA for gun-related murders. Do they ever condemn Planned Parenthood for murdering 900 babies a day? over 328,000 per year. That's just in the United States, by the way. Worldwide, it's many more than that. Do they ever condemn Planned Parenthood? I'm just curious. You know, we just had that big anti-gun rally. Was it last weekend, the weekend before? March for our lives. March for our lives. They're so concerned about our lives, you know, living, not dying. Why do they seem to not care about unborn babies dying? Who's marching for their lives? Is anybody? David Hogg? Emma Gonzalez? Any of you? No. Of course not. Have you condemned Planned Parenthood at all? I'm just curious. You say the NRA has blood on their hands? Does Planned Parenthood then have blood on their hands? In some cases, yes, literally they do. And yet crickets. Oh, and yet silence. Nothing from the left. Nothing from these anti-Second Amendment types. It's unbelievable. Why are they not out there protesting abortion like they protest the Second Amendment? Michael Ian Black, comedian liberal. Why are you not out there protesting abortion and Planned Parenthood? I mean, you think that the NRA is, a terrorist organization. They're responsible for this murder. Why aren't you out there protesting Planned Parenthood, who in many cases does murder? Young, unborn, as a matter of fact. Innocent babies. Defenseless babies. Chopping them to pieces. Crushing them to bits. Vacuuming them out. That is immorality of the highest order. And yet you libs don't say a damn thing. Alyssa Milano? You gonna call out Planned Parenthood? You gonna call out the abortion crowd? You blamed the NRA on this. You said that they're partially responsible for these shootings that occur. You gonna call out Planned Parenthood? The way they treat innocent life? Probably not. Why? Because you're a liberal. That's why. And you're never philosophically consistent. Never. But anyway, all right, let me get to this. You know, I saw this headline yesterday, folks. And honest to God, let me preface this by saying that I've been doing radio for quite some time now. I've been doing political commentary in general for almost 10 years. Between television and radio, about 10 years. This has to be one of the dumbest things I have ever heard. Honestly, one of the dumbest things I have ever heard. You ready? It's a headline from the Daily Caller. California considers bill to restrict police use of firearms. Boy, California, you're doing a great job. Oh yeah, great idea. You know what? Let's not go after the illegal aliens. Let's not go after the criminals that are taking over your state. No. Let's go after the police. How stupid can you get? Honest to God, I feel like sometimes that state, as beautiful as it is, I feel like they're competing with other blue states on who can pass the dumbest legislation. Who can pass the most irrational laws the human mind can come up with. That's what I feel like. How could you possibly think this is a good idea? Restricting the police, telling them when they can and can't use their guns? Let me see how much of this I can get through. California lawmakers introduced legislation Tuesday that would impose an unprecedented restriction on the rules of engagement for police. The Police Accountability and Community Protection Act would change the state's guidance for police use of firearms to a, quote, necessary force standard from the current, quote, reasonable force standard, according to ABC News. So it's going from necessary force to reasonable force. Why is it such a bad idea, by the way, to just leave it up to the cops' discretion? I mean, look, this. If you listen to the mainstream media, Of course, you're going to think that, the cops are killers and they're racist. But frankly, folks, cops know what they're doing. There are some bad apples, but generally, cops know what they're doing. They know when to use a gun and when not to use a gun. They don't need some kind of law or politicians coming along and telling them when they can and when they can't. All right, we're going to go from necessary force to reasonable force standards. Yeah, you really got to back off on when you can use your firearm. Let's see. Where was I? The proposed change comes after Sacramento police were sharply criticized over the police shooting of 22-year-old Stephon Clark. In a Tuesday press conference, Sacramento Assemblyman Kevin McCarty, Democrat, of course, described the change as the state's policy being allowed to fire their... I'm sorry, let me read that again, folks, because that was... it's written a little strange. In a Tuesday press conference, Sacramento Assemblyman Kevin McCarty, Democrat, described the change as the state's police being allowed to fire their weapons only when necessary, instead of the current standard of when reasonable. That's right. While our hearts are broken by tragedies such as these, our resolve to fight for change will never be. Now more than ever, we must change state laws to ensure that police are held accountable to us, said California ACLU Police Practices Director Peter Bibring. I think that's Bibring, in a statement according to ABC. The bill was co-authored by McCarty and Assemblywoman Shirley Weber, also a Democrat. Surprise! And was strongly supported by the California Legislative Black Caucus and the ACLU. Surprise! Go after the cops. Genius move. Absolutely genius. Your state's going to hell. You got illegal aliens essentially running the whole state. And your solution, California, is to tie the hands of the cops. It reminds me a lot, honestly, of what Obama did to the military. Putting in place certain standards, rules, regulations on when they can and can't use their weapon. Folks, our police officers, our military, this is what they're trained to do. This is what they're trained to do. There are some real psychopaths out there. Some real psychopaths who would think nothing of killing innocent cops or killing our men and women in uniform. And the last thing that these people need, these brave police officers, is to go out on the field and worry, gee, am I abiding by this standard that California put in place? Am I in compliance with this law and this other law? Can I take out my gun now or am I going to get in trouble? Screw that! Leave it up to the cops. Well, Jason, there's problems here with racism and, the cops have to be held accountable. The cops have to be held accountable? The hell, the cops are the good guys. The cops are the good guys. Shouldn't even have to say that, but I do. I'll be right back. All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Did my breathing exercises, had a few sips of water. I'm good to go. I'm calm, I'm relaxed. Good to go for the rest of the program. Oh, yes. Sorry, folks, but if you're looking for a monotone radio show, this just isn't it. I get passionate, I get loud, that's just how it is. If you don't like it, you can turn it off. Donald Trump. President Trump, in response to this caravan that we talked about yesterday, of 1,500 Central Americans that's coming up to the southern border and expect to demand refugee status, even though they're not refugees, by the way. Donald Trump is responding to this by saying that he's going to put the military on the southern border. And let me just say before I go any further, I applaud him for doing this. I absolutely applaud him for doing this. He's saying that, look, we don't have the wall built yet. I'm still going to take steps that are necessary to secure the border, to keep the American people safe. You have some idiots out there saying, oh, Donald Trump, he's militarizing the southern border. Oh, how could he do this? He has full authority to do this. But anyway, I have some audio that I want to play from Donald Trump during a luncheon with leaders of the Baltic states. Listen to this. Here's cut 1, folks.
Our laws are so weak and so pathetic. You would not understand this because I know how strong your laws are.
All right, let me stop right there. He's talking to Mexico generally, the leaders of Mexico. So when he says, I know how strong your laws are, he's talking about Mexico's laws, immigration laws. Keep listening.
Our laws are so weak and so pathetic. You would not understand this because I know how strong your laws are at the border. It's like we have no border because we had Obama make changes. President Obama made changes that basically created no border. It's called catch and release. You catch them, you register them, they go into our country. We can't throw them out. And in many cases, they shouldn't be here. Many cases, they shouldn't be here. And after they get whatever happens over the next 2 or 3 years, they're supposed to come back to court. Almost nobody comes back to court. They're in our country. And we can't do anything about it because the laws that were created by Democrats are so pathetic and so weak.
Let me stop him right there. They are pathetic and weak. Do you know why they created them like that? He's right, by the way. It's almost as if we don't have immigration laws. It's almost as if we don't have a border. He's right. Barack Obama did intentionally make it like this. He's right about catch and release. You know why it's like this? It's because, despite what they say, the Democrats embrace these illegal aliens in this country. They want them in this country. They want them in this country. And I've made this case before, folks. It's about the vote. It really is about the vote. That's their entire intent here. To eventually allow them to vote in one way or another. And who are they going to vote for? Well, of course, the liberal Democrats. That's their intent. So, to hell with the rule of law. To hell with the Constitution. To hell with, certain immigration standards and so forth. To hell with securing the border. No. The Democrats want these people in. Obama wanted these people in for votes. I really think it's as simple as that. I really do. So what Trump is saying here, I want you to know, is spot on. Spot on. Keep listening.
So I told Mexico, and I respect what they did, I said, look, your laws are very powerful. Your laws are very strong. We have very bad laws for our border. And we are going to be doing some things. I've been speaking with General Mattis. We're going to be doing things militarily. Until we can have a wall and proper security, we're going to be guarding our border with the military. That's a big step. We really haven't done that before, or certainly not very much before.
And, of course, he's getting backlash for sending the military down there. Again, I fully support it. I think it's a great idea. We know that 1,500, that's no small number, folks. 1,500 Central Americans are coming up through Mexico right now. We need the border secure. We need the border secure. It's very, very easy to look at what Trump's doing and call it extreme, call it radical, call it whatever you want. It's none of those things. Here is a president, a leader, who understands the threat of illegal immigration, not because he hates immigrants, but because he wants to keep the American people safe. He's putting the military on the southern border right now to keep the American people safe. To keep the American people safe. Unlike what Barack Obama did, by the way, keeping the border wide open, catch and release, and so on and so forth. Unlike what these other leftists advocate for. Again, open borders, amnesty. And so even some Republicans, open borders. Oh, what's the big deal? Yeah, let's just give them amnesty. I'll give them DACA. Who the hell cares? Unlike these people, Donald Trump cares about our safety. He's not a bigot. He's not a xenophobe. That's all left-wing propaganda. This is about American safety and enforcing the rule of law. Here's cut 2. Listen.
But I told Mexico very strongly, you're going to have to do something about these caravans that are coming up. And I just noticed that the caravan now, which is toward the middle of Mexico, coming up from Honduras, is breaking up very rapidly. That's because Mexico has very strong immigration laws, as we should have.
All right, let me stop. He's exactly right. This is a point I've made on radio before, too. Mexico does have very strong immigration laws. He's said it about 3-4 times now. And I applaud him for doing so. Bring it to the attention of the public. I mean, you have the liberals who call us conservatives extreme for wanting to secure the border. Remember when Barack Obama mocked us for saying, what are you going to dig a moat and put alligators in it or have a drawbridge or whatever the hell he said? We're mocked for this. You'll notice that the liberals never mention Mexico at all in their immigration laws. They actually have a very, very strict immigration system regarding who can come into the country and what happens if you're caught there illegally. It wouldn't be a bad idea, quite frankly, to take their law book, their immigration law book, and use it as ours. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Keep listening.
We should have those laws. We don't have.
We should have those laws.
We have immigration laws that are laughed at by everybody. And it's got to be changed.
All right, let me stop. That's a good point. They are being laughed at. And as I said yesterday, that's why I think these 1,500 people are coming up to the southern border. Because they know that our immigration laws are not being enforced. Again, it's not that we have crappy immigration laws. It's that they're not being enforced properly. So it almost is as if our laws are crappy. Are meaningless. And they know that, and they're taking advantage of it. They expect full well to march right into this country. And you watch, you'll see the leftists out there. They'll be trying to get these people in like you won't believe. A little bit longer. Keep listening.
The wall, we need the protection, and we have to change our immigration laws at the border and elsewhere. So Mexico has, at this moment, it seems they've broken up large numbers of that particular caravan, and we'll see what happens. But we're prepared at our border. We cannot have people flowing into our country illegally, disappearing, and by the way, never showing up to court. So the court case will be set for 2 years or 3 years, if you can believe this, and they never show up.
Well, again, folks, I know that Donald Trump, I should be saying President Trump, is getting a lot of backlash for what he's doing, for sending the military to the southern border. And he's doing it anyway, and I want to praise him. Not just for the act of, again, sending the military down, but for keeping his promise to keep the American people safe. Because as I said, this is what this is all about. It's about keeping the American people safe. Controlling who comes into our country and who does not. We have 1,500 people coming up through Mexico. So we send down the military. To me, that's a common sense reaction. For a sovereign nation, that is a common sense reaction. There's nothing unlawful, unconstitutional, immoral about it. It's common sense. You liberals love things that are common sense, right? Common sense gun control, and so on and so forth. I'll be right back. Jeez. I told myself I wasn't going to talk about this, folks. But here I am. Why are kids eating Tide Pods and snorting condoms? Why are kids eating Tide Pods and snorting condoms? The easy answer is that they're just stupid kids. But I think there's something else going on here. Something a little bit more profound. And thought-provoking that I want to talk about. But first, I mean, honestly, can we just acknowledge how absurd this is on the surface? Eating Tide Pods. Gee, that's who thinks of these ideas, by the way? I want to know the first kid that, like, saw the bin of Tide Pods in the laundry room, went up to it and said, you know what? I think I'm going to try one of these. And you know what else? I think that I'm going to try to film myself eating one of these and then put it on the internet, put it on social media. And you know what? I think I'm going to try to make it into a challenge. We'll call it the Tide Pod Challenge. Same goes for the condoms. Who the hell came up with the idea of opening a condom and saying, you know what I'm going to try to do with this? I'm going to try to snort this up my nose and then pull it out my mouth. I mean, seriously, the first people that ever come up with this are just, I can't even put into words how dumb that is, how dumb they are. I can't even put it into words. I'm at a loss for words. That rarely happens on this show, folks. A few quick points before we wrap up. First of all, people need to stop sensationalizing this. If you're not making a valid, constructive point with regards to eating Tide Pods or snorting condoms, then if you're a website, a blog, a news station, you need to stop sensationalizing this. Because quite frankly, what's happening is these kids who post these videos on social media, they love the attention. They love when the media talks about, oh, there's a new stupid challenge out there that these kids these days are participating in. They love that. And what happens is they engage in it more. So stop sensationalizing this. That's number one. Unless, of course, you have a valid point to make, which I do. Number two. Let's get down to it, folks, in the limited amount of time we have left. Not that this requires too much attention anyway. Why are they eating Tide Pods and snorting condoms? Again, the simple answer is because they're stupid. But I think that there's something deeper going on here. Really, folks, they're doing this, again, for attention. They know that it gets them likes, comments, and shares on social media. And the more likes, comments, and shares they get on social media, the better about themselves they feel. In this way, I really think that they are directly connecting, linking their self-worth to how many comments and likes and shares they get on social media. That is what they're basing their self-worth on. And even if it means doing something stupid and dangerous, if it gets them likes, they'll do it. And so this tells me, folks, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but to many young people today, getting likes and shares and comments on social media is more important than their own safety. More important than their reputation. And if you think that's healthy for an upcoming generation, you got another thing coming. That is a horrible, horrible thing. I believe they call it Generation Z that participates in this sort of thing now. When I was young, I never even thought twice about eating a Tide Pod or snorting a condom. Didn't even enter my mind. Who thinks of this stuff? But I just wanted to comment on that. You young people out there, if you absolutely have to get likes, if you have to get attention on social media, why don't you do something a little bit more productive than eating Tide Pods and snorting condoms? I'm just saying. Do something a little bit more productive. Make yourself look good, not like an idiot. Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen. You know, when I was a kid, I went outside and I caught frogs and tadpoles. Now they're eating Tide Pods and sorting condoms. I don't know what's going on. But I do know that I'll be back tomorrow, folks. God bless, and God save this great nation.